we're introducing John as a special guest, right?
Yeah. You
Okay.
know, Brandon, you can do the intro.
Okay.
You never do it.
I've never done the intro. You are correct.
Congratulations.
You won.
Oh, you haven't heard the intro, have you, John?
You don't listen
You
to
don't
our
listen
podcast?
to our podcast?
You
It's
think,
okay, I don't listen to
you
our
think I'd be able to
podcast.
make her listen to our podcast?
I don't listen to podcasts in general, so like, no offense.
So we're on the same level as the McElroys for you.
That's what I heard.
Hello and welcome to HQ Movie Review. I'm Brandon,
I'm Rachel.
I'm Jack.
and today we have a special guest.
Me. I'm Jonna. Hi.
Welcome.
Just me.
Yeah, that works.
So today we watched Twilight, Eclipse.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It's the third
Yes.
movie?
Yes.
Third, yeah.
Third movie.
When I was growing up, I was a big Twilight fan, and I read all the books and watched all the movies. This is the one movie I do not have any recollection of whatsoever. And now I know why. Honestly, though, I liked it, so I don't know.
I feel like I was a late in life Twilight fan. I remember seeing the first two in theaters, and then I just fell off. I didn't watch Eclipse. I didn't watch either of the Breaking Dawns. But then, as a grown person, you rediscover them, and you enjoy them in a new way. Shitposting.
Yeah, I mean, I read the Twilight books when I was in... Why are you so shocked, Jonna?
I'm sorry, you read the Twilight books?
Yeah, I read all the books.
You never told me this?
Yeah, I did.
No, you did not.
Anyways, I did read all of the books because my sister was heavily into Twilight at the time, and I did see all the movies, but I barely remembered them. So,
I think everyone who lived through the Twilight period had either a Twilight phase or a very violent anti-Twilight phase.
Some of us both.
yeah.
I was just in the latter camp.
See, I read the Twilight books because my older cousin was reading them, and I thought she was really cool. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to read them. And then it was just a wormhole from there. That's how I got into my addiction. And now it's been 10 years and counting. It's a struggle, but I'm currently reading Zodiac Academy, so it's good.
I didn't read them. I was too deep in Percy Jackson at the time that Twilight was at its peak, and then I just didn't want to. But I only went to see the first movie because I thought it would make me cool. It did not.
See, that's good though. You started on Percy Jackson, like that's where you should have started. No one should have read the Twilight books. Like, I'm glad they're a thing now because of the memes, but like thinking about it, at that age, I should not have been reading those books. Like that, it was a horrible decision. My mom should not have let me be as obsessed as I was. I was 10, not
yeah.
old enough.
These are not age appropriate.
Not at all.
Yeah, it's like in this movie especially, like there is so much making out in this movie.
Yeah.
But abstinence.
This movie does promote a strong abstinence message. The first three all promote a strong abstinence message, but they are all incredibly horny.
Yeah.
It's wild. I like to think that there is somewhere online a recut of like the first three movies into one single movie about like the good Christian boy Edward who's trying so hard to keep his virginity against this girl Bella who is just, she really wants it.
She really wants it.
All right, I don't like that you repeated that. But you are correct. It's very evident throughout all of the Twilight movies that she just really cannot get her mind off of Edward.
But then you jump to the Breaking Dawn movies,
Yeah.
and they jump each other's skin in every way imaginable.
Well, hold
Okay,
on.
no spoilers
haven't
though.
seen those yet.
Yeah.
Well, okay, sorry.
We have someone that's fresh and new to the Twilight saga.
Yeah. As the only person who has not seen these movies prior to this, I will say I am surprisingly very invested in this world, Not so much the main characters, but definitely the world.
I had a lot of bits that referenced Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2, so I'm going to need to recalibrate for a minute.
Yeah, we don't want any big spoilers, at least. There's one specific spoiler that I think we all know in Breaking Dawn Part 2.
Yes.
That I want Jack to get the full first glance at.
Absolutely,
I want
that's
the
true.
first, like, I want to see that reaction.
Well, I thought I knew what it was, but now I'm actually kind of scared.
It's okay. We'll get there.
You'll be fine.
Thank you.
So we start off.
We start off with a guy who's just some dude.
Just some kid.
He gets off was he on a bus or a train? I don't remember now.
I thought he was like in a diner.
Yeah.
He's somewhere in
walks out of the
Seattle.
diner.
Yeah,
It's raining.
Yeah, it's raining. It's Seattle. Where he was prior to this scene, unimportant. He goes out into the rain all alone, is attacked, and is bitten. And then we just cut away for a while.
I forgot his name.
Riley.
It was
Riley.
Riley.
We do. I feel like we have to mention the location that he was bitten in that we all noticed at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
And where the bite mark is on his hand, but like around his thumb.
Like, it's on his palm, but based on the way the bite mark is curved, they were definitely like, his thumb was down their throat.
Victoria likes sucking on things. That's all I can say.
That's
You were making this a rated R podcast?
Oh, is it not? Oops.
It's explicit for curse words only.
Okay.
And I think subconsciously we try to limit that, but we just don't do a very good job.
I think the first time that I watched this and I saw Riley on the screen for the first time, and I had no clue who he was, I thought that I missed like a very important detail about these movies.
See, I just thought that I'd completely forgotten what one of the characters looked like.
That's Jasper.
This is just a very forgettable movie, because nothing really happens. Like, if you're thinking about the actual Twilight plot, this is just filler. Like, nothing. Like, she gets engaged. Spoiler alert, and that's it. That's the continuing of the storyline that we get in this movie. Everything else is completely irrelevant.
This movie really is just furthering the love triangle and then trying to bring the wolves and the vampires together a little bit more.
Which I actually really liked that aspect of it, where they're like, this is an unsteady truce. And then it just kind of gets better as the movie progresses.
Also, we learned a very important fact about imprinting and how it's going to be very important in the future.
That's the one thing I know about Breaking Dawn. There's he imprints
on a baby.
On rigatoni.
On regurgitate.
Ravioli.
Rasputin.
On Requiem for a Tuesday.
I like Rasputin.
Ratatouille. Anyway.
So, I had a point before we went on that. So one of my big world building concerns about Twilight is that the Cullens have been there for a while. The Cullens are are well established. They have not attacked a person. I don't understand why they didn't vibe with the werewolves sooner. Like, I get the whole we're ancient enemies thing, but I feel like at some point over the years, they should have been like, you know what, these ones are unproblematic, and maybe we should have some kind of thing going here.
I mean, that's what the treaty is for. Like, looking at their history, the fact that they signed a treaty where they can both coexist in that same territory, I think that's fairly good.
Yeah,
for vampires and werewolves.
There's still a lot of, no pun intended, animosity here, where they're like, oh, you're one of them cold. You're like, fuck you. You're one of those vampire kids. It's like, well, hold on. I think maybe it would be useful to have like a relationship with this immortal doctor who knows your secret.
Oh yeah, Carlisle's definitely, like, he would have been totally fine to hang out with the wolves.
Plus, he's just like a swell dude.
Carlisle's kind of a dilf.
He totally is. No, I'm sorry. He is, like, I know a lot of people thirst over Charlie, and yes, they're correct, but Carlisle does not get the amount of thirst that he deserves as a DILF.
The dads in this series are very good.
They are.
Twilight, but the cut where it's just the very hot dads.
I watched that.
I would watch just about any Twilight cut that's not about the main characters.
Honestly.
Twilight, but it's just Jasper staring.
Yeah, I watched that too.
Okay, but would you watch Twilight, but it's just Jasper talking?
No.
Twilight, but we Photoshop Jasper into the Union Army.
Yeah, I did absolutely forget that he was a Confederate soldier.
And he's very proud of it. He's like, I was the youngest major, and I never saw battle. And I'm like, bud, this is not... She's been to a history class.
No, I thought it was hilarious that he immediately after saying he was a Confederate, he was like, yeah, I've never lost a fight.
You lost a big one.
Sorry to break it to you, buddy, but...
I want the cut of Twilight that's Jasper in a U.S. history classroom. Because
Oh,
they did
no.
make him go to high school.
Yeah, he keeps going to high school. You can't avoid it forever.
So his whole thing is that he was like one of the youngest and best soldiers for like the Texas Army of the Confederacy, right? If he were in Texas, they would absolutely have him in their textbooks.
Yeah.
That's why I had to get out.
Like, I realize they have to live in Washington because of the cloud cover and whatnot. But yeah, he's definitely just like in some U.S. history textbooks.
There's a picture of him somewhere.
That's my great-great-grandfather, who is also named Jasper.
I'm named after him. It's a family name.
You mean exactly what they did in Eternals?
Everybody in
Yeah.
my family is named Jasper.
Yep.
I'm just deciding whether or not I want to pivot to a quick Eternals aside. It's a good movie.
Eternals was a good movie.
It was a good movie.
It's got immortal people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
They
that.
don't really address how they get away with being immortal.
No, Kingo does. He's the only one who has an actual alibi.
Yeah, he's the only one, though. Like, at least in this one, they're like, we gotta move around every now and then, because eventually, once you realize we don't get older, it's a problem.
It's specifically a problem for Sprite.
But in Twilight, too,
In
they're like,
Twilight
we gotta
also.
move around. I think that one of the things that, like, one of the pieces of discourse that I hear a lot about Twilight is that they should have been college students. Like, everything can stay the same, but, like, in a college town. Because you don't need to question everybody's age. You don't need to question how, like, weird people are on a college campus.
Yeah.
If they don't show up to class every number of days, they just don't show up to class every number of days. They don't even technically need to be enrolled in class. Like, you could just hang around on a college campus and be like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot more sense.
It would have been a lot thirstier of a book series if it
Oh.
was based in college.
Yeah, the only
Would've been
saving
so
grace for the series is that Bella was not 18, so like, all right, we can't do anything too creepy.
Yeah, like if Bella was of age, this would not have been a PG-13 series.
Barely is now. So I think it's really funny that like she in the beginning of the movie, my thought was she wants to be an eternal vampire, but she doesn't want to get married. It seems
Yeah.
She wants to be a free agent, but not.
yeah, it's a weird contradiction.
Give us the Twilight sequel where Edward and Bella get divorced and she has a girlfriend.
You mean
Alice.
Alice?
Alice and Jasper are happy
I
together.
was gonna say, what happened to Jasper?
I don't think Jasper would mind. I think he'd be like, okay, you do you.
You know, you're right, and you should say
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You really wouldn't.
I think Jasper would be like, it's okay, I still love you. I know you still love me, but I get it. And that'd be it.
That'd be a real awkward though for like the Cullen clan, because Edward's still there.
Yeah.
Okay, but Edward has always been like kind of like the outcast. Like he was ready to move out when Bella was like, oh, be with me, and he was like, no, I can't, and he just left them. Like they went completely different ways. So I think if Bella would break up with Edward and get with Alice, he would just move out. They just kick him out. Not needed.
And Jasper would just be around as a swell dude.
I
Yeah.
think I think that Edward is one of the like older, like closer in age to Carlisle versus the other ones. Like I'm trying to remember like the exact order in which they all show up, but I think like Carlisle turned Edward before he turned Esme.
Yeah, he did.
So like I always kind of look at the dynamic and I'm like, this is weird because you're playing like he's your adopted son, but like that's your bro that you've like been hanging out with for the past 200 years.
But even then, Carlisle is still more open-minded than Edward. Like,
I think that comes with just being an older like physically older.
I guess. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Edward. Like, I gotta say, I'm just 100% Team Jacob. Edward just gives me a lot of the creeps most of the time.
Yeah.
And mind you, Jacob's a creep too. But between the two of them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it makes sense that you didn't remember this movie because it's by far the creepiest that I've seen him so far.
I hate it. Like, literally every time they kiss makes me want to gag. And it's not because they're straight.
This time.
It's just uncomfortable to see that, whatever that is. I don't like it. And he sniffs at her.
He does sniff her. This is not the first movie that he sniffed her in. In fact, the first scene that we see Edward in the first movie is basically him sniffing her.
Just uncomfortably smelling her from across the room.
What I was gonna say is that I'm definitely Team Jacob, but the Jacob before he started turning into a wolf all the time.
Yes.
At that point, he was great. He was fantastic. And then puberty happened.
Wolf puberty.
Honestly,
Puberty.
Jacob, before he was a wolf, was ideal. He was sweet. He was funny. He was a bit of a goof. He was great. I loved Jacob pre-wolf puberty.
Do you mean when he was barely in the first movie?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but he was good though. Like those small moments that he was in the first movie were the best moments of Jacob.
It's hard to be written poorly when you're not present.
Can we all say if we're Team Jacob or Team Edward? I want to know who I'm speaking to.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I haven't actively thought about whose team I'm on in a very long time, but back in the day, I knew how it ended, and so I was like, I want to be on the right side of history, and that's as deep as I ever gotten it. So that's why I was Team Edward.
I gotta say, when I was first reading the books and I was a small child, I think, if I remember correctly, I was Team Edward. But I was a child, so obviously I was misled by society as to what to expect or want in a man. And then I realized as I grew up, this is horrible. Like, I don't want that at all. Pasty white skin. Ew, no, disgusting. Like, it's just... It's not you. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about that. Like, he looks like a white, like a piece of paper. Like, it's horrible. I don't like it. I am not attracted to that whatsoever.
You're just gonna keep digging this hole.
Robert Pattinson is an attractive man. I like Robert Pattinson. Edward Cullen, disgusting. Gagging, no.
In the year of our Lord 2021, I think it is nice to look back at these movies and think about where some of these people are right now. Like, we were just talking about Kristen Stewart in Spencer and how that's like she's a front runner for an Oscar now. Yeah. And I mean, Robert Pattinson, he's going to be Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm real excited
Hopefully
for
soon.
Yeah.
Whenever that happens.
We saw a trailer. That was nice. Jessica Chastain's in this movie. There are a lot of people in this movie that you look at them and you're like, you're all great actors. It's got to be the script's fault.
Oh, definitely.
No, yeah, like they're all amazing. Like, I love all the actors here, and it's just the story. It's just the script, and like they know it. Like, the Twilight crew is famous for hating the Twilight movies. Yeah. You know, and I don't blame them, honestly, but yeah, it's just how it's written. It's not good.
What's Taylor Lautner doing right now?
I don't know.
Well, he would have been in the Sharkboy and Lava Girl reboot if they didn't just find someone else and put a mask over Sharkboy.
I didn't actually watch the reboot. Did they do that? I'm upset
Yeah.
now.
They cast the original actress for Lava Girl, but they like Sharkboy was just a guy in like a suit with a mask over his head that looked like a shark.
Was he busy? Could they not afford him? I don't understand.
I don't know.
I don't think they could afford it. They had a lot of people in that movie, and it was not good, but it was also not really focused on Sharkboy and Lava Girl. They were just also characters in that movie.
Even so.
I don't really know what he's doing at the moment, to be honest.
I think he just got engaged.
Oh,
good for
yeah,
him.
I did hear about that.
Yeah. Good for him.
Was it
Yeah, good for him.
to a baby or?
Nope.
No, it was actually
I-
to someone else named Taylor.
Wow. Okay.
It
Didn't
was
he also date Taylor Swift?
He
yeah.
did, in fact,
That's how
date
I
Taylor
found
Swift.
out. It's because I saw a tweet and he was like, "Man, that's got to be some kind of hat trick."
We are in fact waiting for him to appear in the MCU.
That'd be neat. actually.
Ooh, what's he doing? Do we know?
No, he's not. I'm saying all of Taylor Swift's exes are in the MCU now.
Oh.
Joe isn't there.
So Joe and Taylor Lautner, and that's it.
So will his fiance also be Taylor Lautner after they get married, or? Because I think that'd be really funny.
I think it would be funny.
I mean, as Bella said, they might hyphenate their name.
I mean, okay, but they both have to hyphenate it the same way.
You want both of their names to be exactly the same other than the middle name.
Yes, because it's funny. That's the joke.
I think they should legally change their middle names too.
They hyphenate their middle names.
All right, you have 5 names, and they're all exactly the same.
They should name their kid the same thing.
Isn't that like a cult?
Just the cult of Taylor.
Just imagine. Taylor, Taylor, and Taylor.
the Taylors.
That would be so bad.
You can introduce them as the Taylors. It's like, Mr. Taylor. Nope.
Hello, I'm Taylor Lautner. This is my wife,
Taylor
Taylor
Lautner.
Lautner, and our beautiful children, Taylor Lautner Jr. and
Taylor
Taylor
Lautner
Lautner
the
the
second.
second.
Wait, now hang on a second. Hang on a second.
The second
you have,
came first.
you have Taylor Lautner Jr. and Taylor Lautner the second.
Yes.
Are you naming the second child after the first child?
Yes.
And that's
No.
why they're the second?
No, Taylor Lautner the second was the firstborn. Taylor Lautner Jr. was the secondborn.
Mm-hmm.
But they would have been Taylor Lautner the third, and that would have been weird.
This is getting too confusing for me.
At the family reunion, they all fight. Like the Josh fight. It's the Josh fight again, but
Oh,
this time
God.
it's all Taylor Lautners.
Ah.
It's Taylor Lautners all the way down.
It's 2 rows of Taylor Lautners.
There can only be one Taylor Lautner.
So, Renee or Brandon, what team were you on?
I was Team Edward for basically the same reason Rachel said, as I had read the books. I knew she ended up with Edward, so I was Team Edward.
Okay.
Disgusting.
Look, sometimes you just want to pick the canon ship.
Okay, but now, what team are you?
I'm Team Jacob before he turned into a wolf, and then they're both bad after that.
I think I've made it very clear that I'm Team Bella divorces Edward and gets a girlfriend.
That's fair. That's a fair team to
Yeah.
be on.
I'm Team Iron Man. I think they should have signed the Accords.
Whoa. You
Okay,
think they should
okay.
have signed the Accords? Because I'll
Listen.
fight you on this. I'm Team Cap.
Listen, staying together is more important than how they stay together. They could have fixed it later, but breaking up wasn't the option.
Breaking up wasn't the option, but I don't think that the Accords were the right way to go. Because, I mean, first of all, Steve was the only one that had actually actively read them. And the other part of it is that Tony already was public. It didn't affect him to, like, release his identity.
They were all, no one had a secret identity at that point.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man wasn't in the group until after the fight, or he was a part of the fight.
He was a part of the fight.
Yeah.
I think that he would have been involved in the Accords. He probably had to be involved in the Accords in order to fight Cap.
Yeah, I don't think he ever actually signed the Accords. They just kind of forgot about him after that.
Yeah, what's going on with the Accords? Where are they at? Did they get Thanos snapped away? We just gave up.
Yeah, I think after the snap, they just kind of forgot about him.
Yeah, I feel like it's less important to stick to the Accords once the snap happened.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
after half the population is gone, you're like, well, we have bigger issues to deal with at the moment.
But that's the thing, too. It's like if we're signing the Accords and we have to wait for all the bureaucracy to decide if we can fight Thanos, the snap happened 2 years ago.
All right, well, think of it this way. If we all sign the Accords, we're not criminals right now, and then we can go off and fight Thanos and ask for, like, forgiveness later, you know?
So you're just signing it with the intent of becoming a criminal later, as opposed to just not.
Listen, if it gets you out of jail, I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying you sign them now and you work to reform them so they're better later, instead of just being like, you know what, we're just going to be criminals from day one.
Bold of you to assume that, like, the global government would change them later.
That's
I mean,
that's my take. I mean,
What?
I could almost be on board with if they were actively working to fix the Accords before they signed them, but I don't think that was ever an option on the table. Like, no one was asked about about the Sokovia Accords besides Tony, who arguably had one of the lowest stakes in it.
Can we get back to Eclipse? We're spending a little too long on the Sokovia Accords.
My joke landed. I'm good.
No, but Jack, what is your team though? I want a serious answer.
Oh, I had not given it that much thought, honestly. I think based on what I've seen so far, honestly, it'd still be Edward for right now, just because of how Jacob was acting the last time we saw him, which was,
Yeah.
I'm gonna kiss you because I think you have feelings for me, even though you've said on multiple times that you don't.
Both of these men really did a couple shady manipulate games in this
Yeah.
one.
No, they're not great. I'm picking because I have to. Honestly, they're not. Neither of them are healthy relationship choices.
I feel like
Not
it
at
was
all.
an incredibly dick move of Edward to go against Bella's wishes and be like, anyway, we are engaged, and I know that Jacob's there, but you don't, and I'm gonna spill the beans right before he has to fight with my family on your behalf for our lives.
He does this like multiple times in the movie, where it's like, well, I know you've made a decision, but I'm going to force your hand anyway, and then just hope you're cool with it afterwards. Like, what? No, don't do that.
Edward really does play the I'm gonna make the decisions for you game, and Jacob plays the I'm gonna tell you that you're making the wrong decision every step of the way until you choose the one that I want way.
Yeah, they both gaslight the fuck out of her. Like, it's not good.
It's real toxic, and only Jacob has the excuse that he's actually a teenager.
That's true.
That is true. He's going through puberty. It's a hard time.
He's going through wolf puberty.
Well, puberty.
Can we talk about how Jacob's like, I let him be the alpha. I was supposed to be the alpha. Like, bud, you're a teenager. I don't know that you can drive good yet.
Okay, but this is canon though. Like, in the books, this is the thing where Jacob is canonically the stronger wolf, and he just let Sam be the alpha.
I get that, but I feel like we would have had very different movies if Jacob was the alpha from square one. We would have gone to war with the Cullens.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, he's the stronger wolf. He's also the dumber wolf.
Yeah.
Like, strength does not equivalent. Like, what is it? Leadership
Yeah.
skills. He's still a teenager. He's just brawn, no brain.
Did Sam get half of his body crushed? No. Checkmate. I really like that Jacob got like his ribs crushed and also broke his arm somehow.
It was his whole right side of the body.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how? The guy
Carlisle-
was only touching him on his ribs.
Carlisle just says it's every bone on the right half of his body.
Yeah.
All of them.
Why?
Like Two-Face.
Yeah. Like his leg's broken. His leg wasn't even a part of that attack. It's impressive.
I mean, you also have to think about the injuries have to translate from wolf form to human form.
Yes, the guy grabbed him on his wolf ribs and crushed them, and that broke not only Jacob's human ribs, but also his arm and leg.
Also, where did he even come from? Like, how did they not notice there was still one going just running around?
Yeah, it's really on them that they just missed this whole dude.
He just came out of nowhere. It's just, what? Who
He
are
was
you?
standing in a bush.
Yeah, he was.
They're all terrible at their jobs.
Also, I gotta say, I know this is probably incorrect, but the girl, like the last girl that was standing, I feel like she's also in Breaking Dawn. Like, is it just me, or does she look like Regurgitate?
I don't think that anyone looks like Ragu.
I'm pretty sure, like Ratatouille, as she gets older, looks like her.
I mean, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't speak to what Resume looks like, but
Who's that?
Resume was actually a pretty good one.
Yeah, resume. You were close.
I thought that was pretty clever, honestly.
I think Jana thought you actually said it.
Yeah, for a second I
Yeah.
thought you actually said the name.
It was too close.
Darn it. Flew too close to the sun.
I really hope our listeners actually understand, but
If they don't deserve to be listening.
don't say that. We only have like 7.
Well, sorry.
But back on the line of thought, I get what you're saying because she does kind of look like Ravioli, but I don't think that she gets old enough in Breaking Dawn to.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I don't know. I might have just seen her in another movie and thought she looked like her.
she does look familiar. Time to check the cast list.
In the meantime, I really want to bring up, like, what year did this movie come out?
2010.
2010. Why does The Flash Season 8 have the same level of super speed graphics?
Because this movie actually had a budget, and so from 2010 to Flash Season 8, there was the gap between the technology and the budget for it.
This came out in 2010.
Yes.
Oh my
This
God.
takes place in 2010, and it came out in
So-
2010.
I definitely read the books when I was like 7 or 8. Oh my God.
That's real inappropriate.
I was not
That's
old.
not-
My
that's
mom
not-
should have
okay.
just. Nope. No. Don't let your kids read Twilight when they're 8.
Just don't let them read Twilight.
Yeah, don't.
I'm very surprised your mother let you read that at 7 or 8 because she's Catholic.
Yeah, but she
And this is about
wasn't.
vampires.
She wasn't that religious
And
back
it's also
then.
about abstinence.
Yeah, it's abstinence, Brandon. Come
It's a
on.
heartwarming story about a boy who's trying to protect a girl's virtue.
It's about a boy courting a girl.
It's about drive. It's about power.
We stay hungry. We devour.
So that's pretty accurate, honestly.
Yeah.
I think the only thing I actually remembered from this movie was that we learn that they're not werewolves. They're just shapeshifters, and the only thing they can shapeshift into is a wolf.
Yeah, I'm surprised that stuck through you. Like, I forgot. I mean, mind you, I forgot all of this movie ever happened.
Yeah.
But still, I completely forgot that.
It's just it's an interesting way to put it. I guess Stephanie Meyer didn't want it to be like, oh yeah, they're werewolves, but forget about the whole like full moon thing.
Yeah, it's just whenever they feel like it. Also, they don't turn into like werewolf wolves. They turn into just wolves. They're just big wolves.
Just big wolves.
Slightly larger than normal wolves.
And stronger.
Also, yeah, super strong.
Also telepathic.
Yeah, also that.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice.
That seems honestly detrimental to like pack society. That's just too much. Like it's involuntarily telepathic. That is not a good thing. I just don't want to know what everyone's thinking all the time.
So when are we going to talk about the only line that was worth remembering?
Does he own a shirt?
Okay, 2 lines.
Do you own a shirt was a good line.
Like, between the whole dilemma of Team Jacob and Team Edward, it's also like, okay, who is the most attractive of the two? And I think this movie made it very clear because Edward did not even fight Jacob on the matter when he stated, I am hotter than you. He just accepted that
I mean,
as a fact.
yeah, it is accurate on both levels.
We've seen them both with their shirts off.
Yeah, we have.
It doesn't help that one of them was sparkling when their shirt was off.
It's just,
I mean,
It's
look, some people
sparkly
like
and-
body glitter.
it's not the glitter. I don't mind glitter. I love glitter. It's everything else. Robert Pattinson in this time and age was not.
But Robert Pattinson as Bruce Wayne.
Yes. Even as Cedric Diggory, it's the vampire aspect. Which I like vampires and I like vampire stories.
It's the weird sparkly vampire
It's
aspect.
that. It's just the pasty white and the sparkly and the creepy sniffiness of it. I don't like it.
I don't think I'll ever get over like, oh, we can't go in the sunlight. Why? Because it kills you? No, it just kind of makes us sparkle. Makes
Yeah,
us look
that
glittery.
was-
Like, what?
I feel like that was one of the dumbest choices
Yeah.
that Stephanie Meyer made.
Like, I get it. You don't want them to have actual weakness to sunlight, but You can make it something else. It doesn't have to be that they glitter.
Yeah, and also, like, there's a lot of vampire movies out there. Not all of them have to be like, oh, yeah, the sunlight kills us. And even if it does, like, Vampire Diaries does a great job at, like, going around the issue about sunlight killing them. Because there's, like, witches and stuff. And that makes sense. If you wear a family ring or whatever heirloom that's enchanted and it keeps the sun from making you burn into flames. It's a lot better than, oh, I sparkle. Or even as, like, a lot of other vampire movies, like Vampire Academy has them like, oh, yeah, the sun just annoys us. Like,
yeah, it's just really uncomfortable. That could be it. Like, it doesn't have to be, like, I get you didn't want to make it a weakness, but you could have just made it nothing.
yeah, it's not good.
So I've been trying very hard on IMDb to figure out where else this person is from. And I would like to point out, I don't recognize much of this filmography, but she is credited in Breaking Dawn Part 2.
I knew it. I told you all. She's in Breaking Dawn. She's Regurgitate. Regurgitate.
So it says credit only, and she's cast as the same character, but I think that what happened is they probably used some of the footage
It's a flashback.
from this one as a flashback.
I'm pretty sure she's Regurgitate.
I'm on IMDb right now, and I am telling you that she is not.
Regurgitate. What's her name?
Have you said different names so much you don't actually remember her name?
You seem to stick to Regurgitate a lot.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I've
feel
been
like that's
trying
the
to-
one that matters most.
I've been
Okay.
trying to find new
Ready Whip.
new ones. Ready Whip's good. Rick Astley.
Oh my god, I just saw the doll. Did you see the picture of what it looks like right now? It's melting.
She's melting.
It's demonic. Like, that thing can walk. It's not good. They need to burn that. They need to burn that doll. It is possessed. I've heard stories that it walks and moves on its own. I don't
Creepy.
know if they're true, but honestly, looking at it, I believe it. That should have never have happened.
On the other hand, I feel like this franchise is so far removed from actual monster mythos, it's impossible for anything from this series to be haunted.
Well, the big TikTok thing right now is that everyone's saying that the Cullens, really all the vampires, are not actually vampires based on, like, canon mythos. They're, like, old Celtic fairies.
That is a thing I saw.
Which is really good for me because I do love fairies.
Someone else commented on it and said something along the lines of, look, it all lines up. It's great. I think that Stephanie Meyer intended this? Absolutely not. Does that make me want to say it more? Yes, absolutely.
I think it also makes it really funny that these are neither vampires nor werewolves now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it would be a lot better, like, if they're actually, like, fairies. Because it makes a lot more sense with the sparkling aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also the fact that, well, I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. But, like, that they're made of ice? Or
Like
they're, like,
crystal or something.
like crystal? Like, that's, I don't...
Yeah, we never really saw what their like insides look like before this movie, I guess, but it does seem weird that they're made of crystal because when they're not broken open, they don't behave like that at all, aside from, I guess, the sparkling.
I almost wonder if it was, and I mean, Brandon, you've read the book, so maybe you can enlighten us here.
I have also
Shauna, you've read the book. I wasn't.
Listen, this is his only claim to fame. Let him have this.
Let him get in. I feel like maybe at least a little bit of it had to have been a production choice as opposed to like a book choice. Like, I'm sure like the cracks show up in the books, but I feel like it's more of a like the skin, like the sparkling skin, like the diamondy skin and that cracking, as opposed to like your whole arm.
Yeah.
It's a stone now.
I don't remember, but if I had to guess, yeah, I would say that it's like, yeah, they're like, I understand why they would be like brittle, you know, and they would form cracks, but I don't know if they were like crystal inside.
Yeah. Care to weigh in, Jana? Having read the books.
It just doesn't make sense to me that they're also flammable. But they're made of rocks. Like,
Yeah.
I think the only thing that excuses them being flammable is that the only way to kill them is to break them apart and burn the pieces.
but I don't think they're like I don't think if they catch on fire they would die. They have to be broken apart first and then like burned. Like
Yeah.
I remember that from the books
Yeah.
that you have to tear them apart and then
Yeah.
burn the pieces because if not they will just be put back together, I guess.
So
Yeah, I have some questions about that actually. Like, they tore off Victoria's head and then burned her body. One, it was comical how fast her body caught fire when he just
Yeah.
dropped the lighter on her. Two, if they just kind of threw her head really far away from her body, is she like Deadpool? Would she just grow another body, or how does this work?
So I think from what we see of them like regenerating things is it just stems from like the largest part, right? So like I think we see it a little bit with Riley when his hand gets bitten off, is you see it start to reform from where the stump is, right? So I think in that case she would just form another head and her other head would just be off there somewhere.
You see it a little bit on Emmett too, not to the extent of like a whole limb,
Yeah.
but like you see the cracks on his forehead and they just kind of seal up on camera.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think
It's weird.
But like, yeah, healing cracks and healing off like a small broken part's one thing, but like, if you dismember something into enough pieces, how does her body know which piece is the largest to start growing from? Like that one guy had both of his arms torn off. How do the arms know that they're not the largest piece?
I don't know. The vampire thing.
What
If
I'm
you
saying is I think they're like starfish, and you can clone them by tearing off a piece and then keeping both of them unburned.
if you tear off enough pieces of vampire and they regrow, is it the same vampire? Or is that vampire Theseus?
If that vampire gets a boat,
If that vampire gets a boat and he makes that boat a vampire, and you never burn any of the pieces, but you do keep replacing them, is that boat still a vampire?
yeah. How many ships of Theseus do you have now? Did each piece also become a ship?
Who wants to play our favorite game?
I don't know what that is.
What did this user rate the movie?
Is that what we named this segment?
No, we didn't give it a name, but I'm working on it.
Okay.
That's not a good name.
So, Jana, you weren't here last time. This is your first time on the show. The way this works, IMDb has a bunch of user reviews. You can give your review a title. And then, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the title, and you guys all have to guess the rating just from the title.
Okay.
Remind me, how many stars is it out of again?
It's out of 10 stars.
Out of 10, okay.
So give a rating 1 to 10. This first one, the best of the Twilight films, but still not great.
6.
7.
See, I was also going to say 7.
Deliberate.
Do we all have to have different numbers?
No, I'm saying explain.
Oh.
Explain your decisions.
Let's elaborate.
Elaborate.
I mean, I think it was a solid 7 for the Twilight movies.
You're supposed
Maybe
to be
it's
going off of the
6.
title.
I think that if they're calling it the best but still not great, they're going to rate it above average but low.
Yeah, no, that was also my thought process, is that they think this is, like, they didn't say it was the least bad. It's like, it's the best, but not great. But not bad. They didn't say it was bad. So I'm thinking, like, it's like a C, like a C plus maybe, in their
That's
book.
a C bass. It's at least a C plus.
Jana?
Yeah, I think it's a 7.
It is a 6. Rachel got it immediately.
Hey!
We were close.
I love this game.
Did you win last time?
Yeah, I
We
did.
win last
Okay.
time.
I made sure to get
games.
4 this time, so there's not a tie. Although I guess if 2 of you get 2 of them, but. Next one. I did a bad thing to myself and watched the whole series.
Yowza. That's just one review title?
Yep, that's the title. I did a bad thing to myself and watched the whole series.
4.
I'm thinking, hang on.
I didn't think this would be that hard.
See, I'm kind of going back and forth because, like, I would say that I did a bad thing to myself watching this series, but then I would rate them incredibly high on IMDb after
Yeah,
saying
this
that.
sounds like someone who has a problem, and they're like, yeah, if I watch it, I have to binge the whole thing because I love them so much.
This is someone's guilty pleasure, and I'm going to say it's an 8.
I'm gonna say 6.
It was a 5.
Oh,
So-
do,
That's
I,
a
do I
tie.
win because I'm
It-
closer?
It is a tie between Jana and Jack,
Damn.
because you both rated just around it, a 4 and a 6. So do we want to give a whole point to both, split the points?
In the interest of giving myself a whole point, I'm gonna say we give a whole point to both.
I'm okay with that.
Okay, I guess it's tied 1-1. This next one, both an 8 out of 10 and a 3 out of 10.
Whoa. Hang on. I need to do some math real quick.
6? What did you say? 8 out of 10?
The title of this user review is both an 8 out of 10 and a 3 out of 10.
That's a 5.5. That's not a number that we can use. Can we use half numbers?
No.
No,
I'm gonna say
no whole stars.
6 or 10.
You got to give me one answer.
My first instinct was 5, and the number also kind of said 5, so I'm gonna stick with it.
Jack, we have a 6 and a 5.
I'm gonna say 7. I'm gonna say they're bad at math.
They're really bad at math. It's a 10.
God, I said 10. No, I changed my answer to 10.
I'm sorry, I got to give this one to Jack.
I also said 10. I said 6 or 10 because I knew that it was like, okay, this is horrible, but also amazing. 10.
Those numbers don't even add up to 10.
No, they
They're
don't.
both lower. Why?
They really don't. And the reasoning they give is that, actually, it's the first thing in their review is, first off, the only reason I gave it a 10 is to counterbalance the negative votes this movie received.
Good.
And that was a common theme among a lot of these comments, was people giving 10s to offset all the bad reviews.
Jeez.
Okay, so Jack has 2. Jana and Rachel both have 1. Now, this is the last one that I picked.
Okay.
So I hope we don't have to go to another tiebreaker. But the title of this user review: cough, pause, swallow, pause, biting lips, pause, little bit of action, credits.
9.
2.
There's a lot. I want to keep the title. I gotta think about it. Can I get it one more time?
Cough, pause, swallow, pause, biting lips, pause, little bit of action, credits.
Can you use it in a sentence?
I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna go right at 5, right in the middle.
Okay. It's a 3.
Hey.
So Jana gets the points.
Okay.
I was close.
That means Jana and Jack are tied at 2.
Oof.
I don't know how we keep getting ties.
Well, it's only been 2 times. That's a coincidence.
You gotta just start having like a tiebreaker question that you keep in your pocket for it.
That was what the 4th question was.
Yeah, that
Wait,
is
wait,
what the
wait.
4th question was.
Wait, I've got a suggestion for
Yes.
tiebreakers.
Okay.
I need you guys to both tell me what you think the overall like user rating for this movie is on IMDb. That's a thing, right?
So the
That's good.
user rating.
That's
not-
like because
not-
that's what these average out to, right? The user reviews.
I'm not sure.
Wait, I'm confused. What did he say the rating was?
It was a 3, and you guessed 2.
No.
No, I guess 2.
Jack guessed 2. I guessed 9.
Oh.
Jack won.
Yay.
Jack wins.
Jack won. I
Jack
was
wins.
like, I'm so confused. Why did you give that to me?
Nepotism.
Jack wins. We'll figure out a tiebreaker another time.
Just for the record, the IMDb rating for this, what I assume to be, because it's right next to the rate button, is a perfectly even 5.0 out of 10.
Perfectly balanced.
That's good.
I feel like that's what it deserves.
That is what it deserves. That's what any So Bad It's Good movie deserves. That being said, I think the first Twilight is actually very cinematically like well made.
Oh, I love the first Twilight movie. Like, it's one of my favorite of the Twilight saga. I wouldn't say it's my favorite movie ever, but I would watch it again. I like that we've gotten to a point in time where we can all just appreciate Twilight for both its greatness and how horrible it is. And I think the first Twilight movie does a good job of explaining and setting up that whole world.
I mean, if we're talking about cinematography, I do want to remind you about the scene where Edward explains that he is a vampire, because there's some
Yeah.
wacky camera decisions made there.
Well, I I kind of more think about just like the way that they used color in the first Twilight movie and how they had that kind of like that hazy blue cover to it. It felt like it was a lot more artistically done, as opposed to like these other ones feel like, you know, we're just trying to like get the scenes in. But the way that they like the camera work of them like kind of rotating and spinning around that happened so much in that one, and the different like angles, it felt like they were trying to do something as opposed to just adapt a book.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I just think I think that the first Twilight movie is my favorite movie because of all the iconic scenes that happen in that movie. Because we have so many. Like that baseball scene, the car scene, the apple scene, the scene where he says that the reason his eye color change is the fluorescence.
The fluorescence.
Oh, yeah.
Not even the fluorescence.
The fluorescence.
You know.
Like, there's just so much gold buried in that first Twilight movie that we're just now getting to appreciate how good and how bad. I feel like the first Twilight movie is the perfect example of something is so bad that it's so good. Because the other movies are like, they're just not as equally balanced as that first Twilight movie.
I would agree with that. Also, the soundtrack pops off.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't argue that.
Correct.
I will say, I do think the first movie is my favorite, just because of some of the scenes are great. Like, specifically for me, the baseball scene is the best one.
The baseball scene
series.
is the best one. Also, what is it? What does he call her? Like, jump on me,
Spider monkey.
It's just also like, I'm so sad that they took this out of like the regular version. I think it's only in the extended version that it's on. But the moment where Bella's just doing the weird like rain thing on Edward's house, and she's saying like, oh, my mom and I made one of these out of chinchilla droppings when I was a kid. That's a scene in the extended version that didn't make it to the final cut.
Can't imagine why.
And it's gold. I love it.
I've never seen this scene.
It's literally Bella just in Edward's room, like playing with his stuff, and he has like, do you know like those
a rainmaker? Yeah.
She was just like using that and explaining it to him. It's like, oh yeah, my mom and I made this once out of chinchilla droppings. And Edward just looks at her like, what?
Yikes. Okay.
Bella's mom. I wish we got more of Bella's mom because she's unhinged every time we see her.
She moved to Florida she moved to Jacksonville by choice.
That's the worst part. I'm from Jacksonville. I can say that.
You can move to like Orlando or Miami by choice, or even Tampa.
Maybe even Tampa. Like St. Pete, if you like do it kind of on the outside of Tampa.
Yeah. But Jacksonville.
Well, okay. As a Jacksonville native, I would like to point out, so her husband was a baseball player. The Jacksonville Suns, because they were the Suns at that time. The Jacksonville Suns is like a minor league team. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, y'all really running around to go play for the Jacksonville Suns? We barely even got a stadium.
I mean, yeah, they're a minor league team. You don't really expect them to have a stadium.
Sorry, I just got like the deep core memory of the like music that they played for every like ad for the Jacksonville Suns games coming up. They go like, baseball's never been hotter with the Jacksonville Suns, and now it's just playing on repeat in my head.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Also, the mascot for the who wants to guess what the mascot for the Jacksonville Suns is real quick? We're going on a tangent.
I was gonna say it was like a sun, but now I don't think so.
I don't know why I'm thinking tiger.
Gritty.
God, I wish Gritty was the Jacksonville Suns mascot. So back when they were the Jacksonville Suns, as they are now the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, we can get to that later. The Jacksonville Suns mascot was a dog. His name was Southpaw.
Okay.
Because he was left-handed.
Okay.
This is
Interesting.
none of these things have been like anywhere I would have predicted.
He was just a brown dog, and he had a Jacksonville Suns jersey, and he had a little hat. And yeah, that was his whole thing.
Why were they the Suns?
Because baseball's never been hotter.
God.
All right, moving on.
What are we moving on to, Jonna?
I just want to move on.
You don't want me to talk about the jumbo shrimp?
No.
We don't want to talk about minor league baseball teams.
I'm good, thanks. I don't know. Can we just? I don't care what it is we move
Listen,
on to.
I can BS the conversation about like most major sports. Baseball is not one of them. I know very little about it.
You just gotta hit ball and then run around.
Yeah.
Also, make sure to extend your leg very far up before you throw the ball.
Only
Did
if
you
you're the
also
pitcher.
try and do the kick, the Alice kick?
Obviously. Like, yeah.
When that movie first came out and I was like getting my hair cut, I showed her, like, I was like, I want Alice's hair. And she's like, I can't do that. Like, you realize how heavily styled that is?
Also, like, her hair is not good after the first movie.
Yeah.
It's so blatantly wig-like. It's not good.
Remember that time Michael Jordan played baseball in Space Jam?
Remember that time Michael Jordan played baseball?
I prefer the Space Jam version.
Okay, I want to know, just because I'm curious, out of all the characters, which one do you think is the most attractive?
Carlisle. I didn't need to think about it.
Brandon?
Well, this is actually a tough one.
I don't know that. Like, I've never seen any of them as like very attractive. Like, obviously, Jacob is supposed to be like conventionally attractive. Somehow, some people are supposed to see Edward as attractive, which I don't get. And I understand the like security that Carlisle gives that would make people think that he's attractive.
I love how you just
What do you
named...
make people think?
I love how you just named male characters. Very, very cool.
I mean, they don't try to market any of the female characters as conventionally attractive.
Excuse you? Have you seen Rosaline?
No, listen. They are attractive. They're not marketed
Yeah.
as attractive. This is very much like, look at these men. There's pretty women here too, but look at these men.
Okay. Yes. I would be in the tie between Carly and Rosalie. But I think I would go with Carly. It's just the fact that he's also a doctor.
Yikes.
Well, Brandon, you've got some schooling to do.
I'm pretty sure that, and I may again be wrong on this because I get a lot of my like deep Twilight lore secondhand, but I'm pretty sure that Carlisle is like in his early 20s, like frozen at his early 20s
I
As a
don't
doctor?
as a doctor. Well, I mean,
don't
he
believe
started like back in the,
He's late
the life
20s,
expectancy.
at least.
I'm Googling it.
Do
Like,
it.
maybe in the movie he's late 20s, but I'm pretty sure book-wise that Carlisle is like 23.
No. No.
Like, I will accept that if he is 20.
It's 23. Read it and weep.
Damn.
Okay, but that's not
So
accurate.
he clearly had to like go to medical school as a vampire then.
I mean, yeah, that could be. Because he doesn't, at least in the movies, he looks like he's in his late 20s.
Yeah, I mean, if we think about it, what was medical school back when he became a vampire?
Yeah.
You attend a class for like 3 weeks. They pointed a picture of a body. They dig up a cadaver and be like, "Hey, this is the muscles. That's a vein. Don't cut it."
See, now
You're a doctor.
Here's the thing though. He's clearly stayed up to date because he runs an actual medical practice in Forks.
Oh no,
Yeah.
he's
Well,
definitely
yeah.
gone to medical school since then. I'm just saying he might have already been a doctor back when he turned. He's just continued to be a doctor.
It's easy to learn the new medical advancements when you're there as they're happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jack, I don't think you ever gave us an answer.
Oh,
And
no,
who
there's
the most attractive is.
There's so many people. I don't know. I can't make this decision.
It's okay, we'll wait.
Sorry, I've got a top 3. So we started at Carlisle. I was thinking about it more.
Go
All
ahead.
right, let's do it. Top 3. Top 3 to make it easy.
Okay, top 3, Carlisle. Then Alice. Then Jasper.
It sounded like you were gonna continue.
Yeah, I feel like there are some of the like minor characters in Breaking Dawn Part 2, but we're not there yet.
No, my top 3 would be Carly, Rosalie. I don't know if I know those are the top 2. I don't know my third. Because, like, yeah, Jacob is conventionally attractive, but I'm not sure if I would. Like, if we're talking about actors, Kristen Stewart, but not Bella.
Not Bella.
Not Bella.
Yeah, no, there's a distinct difference there.
But Kristen Stewart.
Like recent Kristen Stewart.
Recent Kristen Stewart.
Charlie's Angels Kristen Stewart.
Yes.
What I will give like a definitive answer on is I think if I were to pick any of the main like characters to be in a relationship with, it would be Alice.
That's not what we asked, though.
So, I think it's like a tie between Jasper and Alice, and then Carlisle.
Okay.
But so we can all agree that Carly
Yeah, he's up
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
up there.
Yeah. I don't think I would put Jasper up there.
There is something about Jasper in this movie.
It's the fight scene with
It's the
Alice
fight
where they
scene,
like
yeah.
they're basically just like undressing each other with their eyes the whole time.
Do you remember
Yes.
how he looked in the first movie though?
But we're not talking
No,
We're not
about
talking
yeah.
about that. We're
This is
talking about right now.
Eclipse.
Yeah, I'm definitely basing off of like this movie where he's like confident and stuff, and like not just a hungry dog person. He's just like the first movie. He is like a rabid dog who is like, I must not bite, must not itch, just going to stare. Like,
I can't believe Carlisle made him go to school
Yeah.
when he was still getting rid of the urge to drink human blood.
yeah.
But yeah, like Jasper in this movie was good. Other than, the fact that we learned his backstory, but
Well, also Jasper's like incredibly old as the like group goes. And he didn't like join up with Carlisle originally. So imagine like you meet Alice, the love of your life. You join their clan, and then you're told by a man who is just as immortal as you are that you have to go to high school for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the very least, I think they could do like high school and then college and then like move. So that gives them a solid 8 years where no one really expects you to change that much.
Like you might be able to get away with it. There would be some awkward conversations towards the end of college.
Well, yeah, like anyone who knew you since high school would be like, hey, you haven't changed like at all. But even then, like, there are some people who go all the way through college and still look pretty like baby-faced. And I think after that, you go reset somewhere.
for a second I thought you were talking still about just like regular people. Like you just go reset after college. I'm still thinking about Carly.
And on that note, Brandon, you did the intro. You have to do the outro now. That's how that.
You can find us on any podcatcher, iTunes, Spotify, not Spotify.
No, yes,
Spotify?
Yes, Spotify,
Yes,
not
Spotify.
iTunes. It's
No,
Apple
not
Podcasts.
iTunes. Apple Podcasts. We mainly post our stuff on Anchor. You can find it on YouTube. But yeah, I've been Brandon.
This is Rachel.
I'm Jack.
And I'm Jana.
Have a good night, everybody.